Hello and welcome to another update video about Natgas. Natgas is continuing to sell off further. We had a first possible bottom signal here a couple of weeks ago when we broke above that descending trend line, but it didn't hold support. So it again came down. I think at the time we talked about, when we moved up here, we talked about a level that it would need to hold to give us a possible, let's say, at least 1-2 setup or so, which would have indicated the low is in. But no, we only moved up and basically lost that level, indicating further lows are coming. However, the downtrend is now slowing down, and you can clearly see that without even looking at an indicator. For the first time since, I would say, we started that downtrend around 685, we see a slowdown of the downtrend. You can see that clearly by breaking out of the trend line. And if I activate the indicators here, you can clearly see that we have a series of, we have a bullish divergence on the 4-hour chart, meaning that a downtrend is probably getting towards the end here. This often happens in a wave 5, and I have to extend this wave 5 further, and this is an extended wave 5. At least it's an absolute valid view. This is not a very clear structure down there anyway. I mean, it is, in my opinion, here a wave 3, higher degree wave 3. This consists of 5 waves. There is at the moment no evidence that the low is in, for this wave 3, but we are starting to slow down the downtrend. So I would primarily still look at lower here, as long as we see a signal. I'm going to talk about what a signal might be in a minute. We see, however, bullish divergence, so we need to be ready. We also see, I believe, something that you could call a descending wedge, which often happens in a situation when you have a bullish divergence. So we might really be getting here to the end of the downtrend. And this is going to get interesting because talking about signals, a breakout of this wedge to the upside would be such a signal. Even better would be to take out the previous swing high. A breakout of a pattern is not really a change of trend. What you need is at least a higher high and a higher low. Better, 2 higher highs and 2 higher lows. Depends on what you're comfortable with. But yeah, I think we're getting close to the end here. I wanted to explore a little bit of, again with you, what the areas could be where we are bottoming out here in the wave 3. And if you see on the chart here, I would actually expect now or very shortly a wave 4 to the upside. We already have been waiting for that, I think, since we've been around the $4 mark, but it was so weak, never broke above the trend line. And even now, we are still in a downtrend. I always need to be careful because a lot of people think, if I give ideal targets, they are ideal targets. But without any kind of signal, for example, a bullish engulfing candle, a higher high and a higher low, a breakout of a trend line, a breakout of a pattern, the trend is of course continuing. So I need to be careful what I say, because yes, the downtrend is slowing down. That's a signal already that things will be changing most likely, but nobody knows the future. So it's only something that we see that we need to observe, okay? And when we then break out of this pattern, that might be something interesting. I think we're really fairly close here to the low, really fairly close. But primarily, I would expect we still get another 5th wave to the upside. I do expect a wave 4 up. I think this is an impulsive move to the downside here. I think it's going to continue a little bit further down. It doesn't need to, but it could do. And we should then see a rally. Primarily, I believe this will be a wave 4. But be prepared, because the low could also already be in. There's another way of counting this, where we can say the low here, the overall low of the bear market for Natgas, will be in this area. That means the wave 5 would have been finished here. Okay, so how do we know that? We can be quite certain about this if we break out above the wave 1 low. Because a wave 4 must not cut into the price region of the wave 1. If that happens, it doesn't mean we won't go down anymore, but it will drastically reduce the probabilities of going down. So it will be a strong signal that we are starting to go up here. And a breakout above that $5.10 level, in my opinion, is needed to have a strong signal that we have already the low in. Until then, we have short-term uptrend when it starts and can focus on higher as long as critical support levels hold. And if we break this level, then I think we have a good signal that the overall low is already in. So anybody who plans to invest long-term into Natgas, I can't tell you what you should do, But I would personally try to add some positions here already, maybe slowly, because this could, we are quite close to the overall low anyway. I mean, I primarily believe, but believe is always, yeah, not the right word, but I primarily, when I look at the chart and look at the structure, I think we need another 4 and a 5 to complete this. But if you look at where we come from, we are already fairly close here to a possible bottom, saying that it could still drop from here 30 to 40%, yeah. The MACD on the monthly is just still a nightmare. Yeah, so this is not slowing down at all here. This points towards further downside, but you know, nobody knows where exactly it will bottom. So from a strategic point of view, when you have a long-term perspective, because long-term I'm bullish on Natgas, when you have a long-term perspective, it might be worth thinking about slowly to start to add to your portfolio. Maybe. That's up to you to decide. But yeah, descending wedge here. Where could we land now? Where could we land? We looked in the previous video about at these two levels, 321 to 240. They are certainly important levels from a Fibonacci retracement point of view of the larger cycle. So eventually I think we will land somewhere here, if not even a little bit lower. But for this wave here, this third wave, so what do we have? We've got here those subwaves, and we can look at, for example, taking the length of the wave 1, adding it to the high of the wave 4, and an ideal target here for a wave 5 is, for example, the 2.618 extension, because it's an extended wave. So we're looking here at 336. We're nearly there anyway. Yeah, we basically already touched it nearly. So that would be an important level. And below that, we have the 300% extension at $3.07. So these are sort of the next key targets to the downside. But ideally, we are following now the wedge a little bit lower maybe. When we get a breakout, you need to be watching. And then if we, for example, take out the previous swing high, depending on how low we go, but if we went out now, broke out now, and we take out the 399 level, or 390, what is it? 395 here, this high, then this would be a first signal that things are changing, yeah. And then taking the next high out at 417 would be the next signal. But yeah, and then we move up probably in the wave 4. Ideally, in this wave 4, if we take a look at the length of the third wave, taking the current low into account, we ideally go to 473. That is the ideal level for a wave 4, the 38.2% Fib level. The minimum would be 423. Looking at how strong we've come down, how oversold we are, I would expect it to go to the 38.2 retracement. But theoretically, the 23.6 is enough. The 38.2, however, is the more common one. It's all about probabilities. And here, ideally, we get rejected and move down in a fifth wave. So it's going to be very interesting in probably the next few days and weeks in the Natgas market. Going to observe that closely for you, keep you updated. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.